Okay, before we start, I have few announcements. You probably just got an email from me. There are a few opportunities. First one is Learn to Code Games Fellowship. This one due October 16th. You have to apply as a team of 2 people. The main idea is you apply with your GDD, and if you're selected, you will get $4,000 along with 8 weeks of time period to finish your game. There's no application fee, but you have to submit your application by October 16th. I think this is pretty good opportunity, especially at your level. You probably have some good game design idea, or you probably have some old game project you really didn't finish, but that has great story or something you can possibly utilize for this application process. You have to apply as a team of 2, and once you're selected, you get $4,000 and 8 weeks to complete your game. And this is pretty good opportunity, and especially these types of fellowship or some award will definitely help you get a job later on. Okay? So I strongly recommend you to review this and apply if you can. There's another opportunity, IGDA Scholar application. Anyone here is a member of IGDA? No? We used to have IGDA chapter here, but maybe not anymore. How many GATIC members here? GATIC? No? Okay, 1. I saw 1 hand. 2. I have few shy hands. Okay, IGDA is International Game Designers Association, and this is a pretty popular association. And good thing about this IGDA Scholar, once you get selected, you will be invited to GDC in San Francisco, and you will have kind of special networking event for IGDA members and scholars. So this is a pretty prestigious award. I think they started like 3 years ago. And we actually had 2 IGDA scholar among our graduates. So it's not really hard to reach. I mean, this is within your reach, but definitely there's a high competition. It's very competitive, but it's good to apply. And we used to have IGDA chapter here. If you know, Matt Thomas, he used to be IGDA chapter president, I think. Then he got an job offer from Rudel, Tokyo. We connected him to go there. Anyways, he was seems like we do not have IGDA chapter anymore, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether they're active or not. But IGDA scholarship, again, like really prestigious award. And if you can, why not apply? Because previously you have to be a member to apply, and then there was an application fee. But now you don't have to be a member. There's no application fee, so you simply apply. Okay? And you have about 52 days if you go here. You can go to the link. You have 52 days to apply, I believe. So ends on November 29th. Again, to try to read what it is about and try to apply. Okay? And one more thing. Oops, not this one. Okay, so this one, 52 days, 8 hours, 26 minutes left. And one more thing. Do you guys know there's no class next week? Next Tuesday, because of Columbus Day on Monday, Monday class will meet on Tuesday. So no class for us, sadly. But we will have some sort of resume workshop on Friday, 12:30. I know, well, I cannot make it mandatory because you might have class or you might have something else. But we are going to have resume workshop with Kayla Harris. Kayla Harris is a game designer at Big Hughes Game. She was our student before. Actually, she was IGDA scholar before. So she applied and then she got that, she was selected. And then eventually she landed a job at Big Hughes Game as a game designer. So she will come. She's currently our graduate student too. So she will come and we'll have maybe 20 to 30 minutes workshop on resume.
She also helps out in Casey's
yeah,
capstone
yeah.
class.
So she's taking that class as a graduate student and then help Casey's class. So what she's going to do, she will share what to do and what not to do. And 12:30 at 2001, right next door. And I'm going to buy you some like free pizza. So if you're hungry, you can come. Pizza and soda. 12:30 to 1:30. Then we're thinking of like one resume workshop and then probably portfolio workshop in a month. So there's going to be 2 workshops by Kayla Harris. And another thing is, I mean, especially resume and portfolio. Okay, again, you really have to understand like what they're looking for. And again, it's not like there's only one way to do it, but definitely it's kind of important for us, or good for you to know what Kayla Harris would say, because she's involved with some hiring process time to time, and she'll tell you. And another thing though, she probably knows better about portfolio or resume that applies to for the position at Big Hughes Game. Big Hughes Game is a relatively big like studio. So they make Dominion series, and then they're bought by like Nexon, one of the mega game company in Korea, and so to get a position there, you probably have to have few years experience. So she will tell you like what you need to do to get a job like relatively like a big or not necessarily small studios, but it's good to know. Like she will tell you some few things like, oh, she might be like harsh, just like I said. Well, people probably will not going to review your stuff unless you have really good piece at the beginning or something like that. But she will share her insight. So October 18th, Friday, 12:30 at 2001, which is right next door. All right, and we're going to continue to work on this asset production, and we're going to look at PowerPoint demo reel guidelines. So this one is pretty straightforward. Okay, and then we'll probably like review some example portfolio sites, and that's pretty much it. Okay, but let's take a look at animation demo reel guidelines. So demo reel tips is your very own TV commercial. Okay, it doesn't have to contain every single thing from your game or your animation. Okay, it should be some like you have to hint what you did, and you have to you really have to make it kind of somewhat interesting, so that people can stay on your like a demo reel and watch the whole thing. Okay. And then be brief, 1 to 3 minutes. Okay. So this is important thing. Okay. Sometimes people have hard time to edit videos because, especially if you made that game, you feel like, oh, I really like that part. I want to put that in my demo reel. And then, oh, I actually worked on that character too. I want to include that too. So a lot of times people have this self-indulgence, okay? So people tend to put more and more stuff. Okay? But again, in perfect world, people sit down and watch the whole thing. But in reality, like, people will not watch the whole thing. Probably they will try to watch it first 30 seconds. And if it's not that interesting, they'll move on. Okay? So you really have to be brief, 1 to 3 minutes tops. Okay? So I would say even like 1 to 2 minutes. But if you have a lot of things, maybe 3 minutes. But if you put like 5 minutes, I guarantee that people will not watch the whole thing. Unless like you have like a 10 to 15 years of experience and you're applying for really high-end position. But if you apply for entry level, they will not watch the whole thing. So it should be short. Okay, 1 to 3 minutes. And keep it moving. Find your bit and stick to it. Again, if you have there's any third moment, people will stop and move on to the next person's portfolio. So it's really important for you to kind of make it, think about like people's eye movement. So when you watch the movie, you want to kind of think about how your eyes move around object on the screen. Same thing on your portfolio. Okay, you don't want them to kind of stop and think and evaluate your stuff. You just want to provide everything you have. So a lot of times, you just want to keep moving until the end. And music. Choose music that is appropriate to the mood of your reel, but nothing aggressive, distracting, or NSFW. Music with steady beats, and best to avoid music with lyrics or distracting elements. In most cases, find music that is upbeat, but generally for art reels, the music is not that important, and some art directors just turn down the volume anyways. So music is a good thing to add, but you don't want to share the spotlight with the music. Okay? So I'm not going to say this is the best music or this is a music that you want to use, but I'm going to give you one example. I want you to kind of listen to this a little bit, and then I want you to think about concept of it. Actually, one of my favorite music. So this is a famous music by Brian Eno. Anyone knows Brian Eno? Yeah. So a famous guy. He's getting old, so he released the last album like a few years ago, and that was it, I think. So again, like, you don't have to. You don't want to use this music for your reel, but I like the concept of this music. So sometimes I play this music and talk about concept. This is a music for airports. Okay? If you think about airports, okay, there's a lot of ambient sound, and sometimes there's announcements. So Brian Eno designed this music. It doesn't have very strong beat or anything to compete against the announcement. And it doesn't have clear beginning and ending. This is a 48 minutes of music. And it doesn't have, it can be cut anytime and then start again. So say there's some announcement, so there will be this music kind of turned down, and then there's going to be announcement, and then volume is back up. Again, because it doesn't have that strong, like a melody or strong beat, it still can fill the space. So I want you to think about the music for your video. Okay? It's a background music or music that supports your video. It cannot be the superstar of your video. It should have the supporting role. The concept is it kind of fills a space, but not necessarily take away the spotlight from your video element. Okay? So again, this concept, music for airport, is pretty interesting. Again, okay, you still provide music to fill the space, yet it doesn't compete against that announcement or some important information. So music for your demo reel should be like that. It only supports your video demo reel, and it fills a space, but it doesn't take away any spotlight from your video or any of your content. Okay. So think about that. And Brian Eno, I mean, very interesting guy. Yeah. And for inspiration, find cool demo reels from students and pros, and school demo reels, company or studio trailers, and game trailers, and try to watch them and then try to look at the style and mimic what they have. Or sometimes we use the word benchmark. Yes, you want to benchmark at the beginning until you get your own style. And at this point, unless you are video editor or film major, it's probably hard for you to have your own style. So best bet at this point, try to watch other people's inspirational demo reel and try to kind of copy the style or mimic the style. Do include only your best work. Again, you want it to be between 1 and 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes might be too long actually. Okay. So it should be very brief. You only want to include the best work. And another thing is, this one is kind of like a little bait. Like you are wishing, oh, your future employer kind of watch this 1 minute or 2 minute video and becomes interested in your work so that they can look at other stuff you created in your portfolio site. Okay? So again, sometimes people have tendency to put everything in this demo reel, but you don't have to. Okay? Put the best work only. And start and end with your strongest pieces. This one is sometimes we say, you can try to do this in your head. You can think about 10 games, or you can ask people about, hey, what's your favorite games? If they list 10 games, you as a listener, you probably remember the very first thing and then very last thing. That's how our brain works. Okay? The first thing, because you basically record that information in your head, so usually you remember the first thing and the last thing. Okay? So you want to kind of put your stuff at the beginning and the end so that those pieces will be remembered by your future or potential employers. Okay? And tailor your demo reel to your dream job. Know your strengths and focus on them. Keep it short and simple. Leave them wanting more. And ask your friends for feedback. So again, it doesn't have to contain every single thing you have. It only needs to showcase your strengths. Okay? So again, I am really bad editor because if I shoot, let's say, my kid's performance, to me, every single moment, every single second is precious. So I want to keep everything. So I ended up like a 1 hour video for 1 hour performance because I cannot really throw away anything. But that's really bad. Okay? If you want to create demo reel or some trailer types of video, you only want to contain the essence, the most important thing from your game. But again, I know it's going to be hard because you as a game designer or developer, you probably feel like, oh, this is important and that is important. So you tend to put every single thing together. Okay? That is why it's important for you to ask around other people's feedback, because if they're not on that game project, they can tell you easily like, oh, probably that piece of like that 10 seconds, probably you don't have to have it. It's not really relevant. Or without that 10 seconds, it still works. Okay? So again, editing is really hard process. And same thing, like I reviewed your content plan, and people sometimes feel like they have to list every single thing. They have to have every single thing in their portfolio. But no, not really. And then me as kind of outsider, I can tell you that because, oh, you have like 3 similar stuff. Just pick the best one. It's redundant. It's easy for me to say that because, I'm not really attached to that. But you as game designer and developer, sometimes you get attached to your stuff and it makes you hard to cut something out. But if you kind of watch it over and over again, eventually you will be able to do that. And don't include work that you don't have approval for. Don't include work that you don't love to do. Don't overthink the music. Don't put in work that you didn't do. Don't add things just to fill space. Don't assume that your entire reel will be watched. Okay. Again, this is something I mentioned over and over again. Okay. So approval for sometimes this issue becomes if you did internship. Okay. If you did internship for the game at game company, in general, you sign like a general NDA agreement, meaning like you sign the form that say, oh, I'm not going to use this work that I created during my internship, okay, for somewhere else. Okay, so if you sign that, you're not supposed to use that. Okay, you have to get approval by your supervisor at work. Okay? And same thing for other companies. If you work at a company, in general, you sign that general NDA agreement form. Okay? So you are actually giving away right to use what you produced during the internship or work. So you have to get approval for it if you want to use it for your portfolio. And don't include work that you don't love to do. This was kind of tricky. Sometimes you're applying for a position just to put your foot in the industry. Then maybe you have to do it. This one. But overall, like people say, yeah, if you don't want to do that kind of stuff, why you include it? Okay? And don't overthink the music. Again, music is not that important. Okay? It only kind of supports your video. And don't put in work that you didn't do. Kind of tricky because sometimes we work as group. Okay? Let's say you are working on senior capstone project. Okay? And that's kind of tricky, and then there are some gray areas because you really didn't work on it, but you complete the project as a team. That means you can actually use it for your portfolio, but you have to clearly indicate the role you had in that group project. Okay? So sometimes people kind of like to use that gray area sometimes. Okay, so people do that, but that's kind of you use your best judgment. Okay, and supposedly, ethically, you're not supposed to say, include any work that you didn't do. But again, I'll put the parenthesis for the group project. Okay? You might be able to use some of them with indicating, okay, this is a result of group work, and you clearly indicate your role in that project. And don't add things just to fill space. Okay? If you have like a 3-minute video, okay, 2 minutes very strong, and 1 minute kind of boring, okay, you would rather have like 2 minutes of strong content. Okay? So again, like sometimes people tend to show more and more stuff. They want to show more stuff in their portfolio reel because they want to prove or they want to make the appeal by saying, I can do this, I can do that. But then again, you basically want to have something like you only want to showcase your strengths. Okay? If you have some mediocre stuff, maybe you can still put that mediocre work somewhere on your portfolio site, but not necessarily in your demo reel. So then some people might question, oh, I want to show my like a progress or process. At the entry level, people don't care much about that. So I would say in demo reel, you really don't have to show that unless like you chose to do that by your aesthetic decision. Okay? But usually I would say like don't try to put sketch of like unfinished work to showcase, oh, this is the beginning of this project. Usually people care about the end project, not the beginning of the project. And don't assume that your entire reel will be watched. Okay. Again, you create 3-minute video and there's no guarantee people will watch the whole thing. Okay, so we'll just kind of watch this few websites. Okay, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but you can see some of portfolio out there. Okay. This is for modeling. So this is modeling, 3D modeling. Okay. In this case, you can start with like low poly and then showing them the texture over your model. Okay. And when I say like sketches, like sometimes people include too much of preparation work, like such as sketches on the piece of paper, picture of it or scan of it. You want to omit those things. And next one. And another thing you can think about is if you're a modeler now, again, try to benchmark, okay, some good styles. And then try to think about what this person included. Okay? This person included some like a polygon count and medium and software and those things. So try to kind of watch them and see. Try to look at their like current practice and try to find what other people uses and try to mimic. Yeah. And animation. So for animators, you want to create that like constant movement plus some lot of rigs so that you can show off like your understanding and knowledge on like the movement of 3D models.
I think that's that's Lord of the Rings. That's definitely Lord of the Rings. Apparently. What? World Tier 2. Yeet.
So apparently, because animation offers so much movement, everyone's kind of like watching it and then get excited. So remember that. Okay.
It's basically the same idea.
And game design. So I think response was pretty good, and try to think about what they use it. And then again, at this point, I mean, you are creating your portfolio probably for the first time, and then you apply for like entry level position. And again, like you can definitely benchmark certain things you like, and you can use them for your portfolio. Okay. And programming, one last thing. So we're not going to watch everything here, but this one, like by looking at it, probably this person used it iMovie. This is when you have like an iMovie, you can easily use this types of effect or the subtitle. So, anyways, try to watch them and try to think about how you can possibly create something similar. And then look at the lengths. This one's like 2 minutes, like 6 seconds. So usually they are in within 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, you don't have to have like 5 minutes or 10 minutes reel. Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for today. And again, try to like look at many good portfolio sites, and I would say benchmark. Benchmarking is okay, so try to mimic their style and try to think about how you can possibly use what they use it to highlight your work and or to showcase your strengths. All right, next week, no class, but Friday next week, which is October 18th, we're going to have that workshop. And I'm going to buy you pizza if you come. All right, I'll see you guys next week. And if you walked in late, your name? Robert Newman?
Yep.
All right.